It is currently Wednesday, March 23rd, 2022, and it's about 11:30 p.m. I have a cold right now, and so there'll be probably some sniffling and coughing going on. Um, I'm sorry. I wanted to make a quick video today because I did receive this telephoto lens, the 55 to 300 Sony lens. This is for A-mount cameras. In a previous video, I was saying that I wanted to get into some wildlife photography and videography. I needed a lens with a longer reach, and I wanted to get in on the cheap end just to sort of give it a try first before investing in anything very expensive. And so that's why I got this guy, and I received it fairly late in the day today, probably a little bit before sunset. And with the sort of lack of light and the lack of birds and animals out there, I didn't have a chance to shoot any pictures. I of course did shoot some test shots, mostly just like buildings, just to sort of check for sharpness and make sure that it works. And I'm happy to say it works fine. So the lens is in pretty good shape. Front element looks very clean. Back element also looks very clean. There is a visible speck of dust on the inside, but it's so tiny. I don't think it's going to affect image quality too much. So I have nothing to complain about in terms of the condition of this used lens. In terms of sharpness, at 300 millimeters, I was very happy with it. Having looked at reviews of this lens online, I was kind of worried that this was going to be a very soft lens at 300, but it looks pretty good. So I am quite happy and looking forward to giving this a shot. Now, I will say it's not all sunshine and roses, because this is the first SAM lens that I own, and so I wasn't quite sure what to expect. Now, in anticipation of getting this lens, I stuck my Sony 16 to 50 on the LAEA3 adapter and on my Sony A6400, and sort of practiced how I would shoot sort of bird photography with an A-mount lens, because you have to make some changes. You can't just shoot it normally, because you have limitations with regards to autofocus, namely with video. And so I was like changing around my custom buttons so that I would be able to sort of quickly move into manual focus and be able to punch in for manual focus in video. And I was just kind of practicing sort of how I would shoot differently with an A-mount lens. And I was pretty happy that I had a system going. Well, all of that, however, was contingent on me being able to do a manual override of the autofocus system, which I could do with my 16 to 50 f2.8 and with my Sigma 85mm f1.4, my two other A-mount lenses. I can sort of override the autofocus. Unfortunately, I did not know this, and let this be a warning to all of you guys who are in the same boat. For SAM lenses, okay, the other lenses that I had were SM lenses. This is an SAM lens. You cannot override the autofocus. When the autofocus switch is engaged, you cannot move this focus ring. So you would have to flip to manual focus before you're allowed to move that focus ring. So unfortunately, that changes things a lot. I'm not quite sure how this is going to work out now for wildlife photography and videography, because I was sort of hoping to stay in photo mode on my A6400, use the autofocus in the photo mode to quickly acquire focus, and then just press the record button on the side to start video. But of course, with this SAM motor, I can do that, but I will have to flip this side switch to be able to sort of fine adjust any focusing. So anyway, that's kind of a bummer, kind of an unexpected thing, but we'll see. And I'm a little bit worried also about the autofocus performance, because well, like my other A mount lenses, the autofocus just isn't quite as lightning quick, you know, as my E mount lenses. So anyway, we'll see. But in terms of sharpness, I have no complaints so far. At 300 millimeters, looks sharp. Even at f5.6, but especially at f8, it looks sharp enough for me. So you guys are probably wondering how this looks on the camera. So let's go ahead and throw that on there. I'll start with the A6400 here. It's already got the LEA3 adapter on there. So go ahead and throw this on. So there you go. It's currently at 55. And if you zoom it to 300, you add about that much length. Now the focusing will rotate and move that second barrel inwards and outwards. So just be aware of that. So there you go. The zoom ring is fairly stiff, not dissimilar to my 16 to 50 f2.8. I can work with it. It's not the smoothest, but I think it's okay. I will say though, this focus ring, I love that it's physically coupled to the focusing elements, just like my SSM lens and my Sigma HSM lens. You know, I don't love the focus by wire thing on E-mount lenses. However, it's not a very precise focus ring. Like when you try to turn it, it only moves in little steps. You know, it's very hard to get a nice smooth amount, right? And now that may not be an issue, except that moving that focus even a little bit changes the focus a lot. And so you're frequently having to just barely move it in order to nail focus. But because it moves in increments, it can be pretty hard to hit that focus. Anyway, not the best manual focus experience. It does have hard stops though. I don't have a lens that does that. So this is my first lens to have hard stops. All right, I think it looks kind of funny on the mirrorless camera. Like all my A-mount lenses tends to look a bit funny. So let's go ahead and put this on what it was meant to be put on, which is a proper alpha camera, SLR style camera. This is my Alpha 65. there you go. That's what it looks like. Yeah, looks much more appropriate on this SLR style camera, if you ask me. The interesting thing is I can try, of course, wildlife photography and videography on either camera, but you know, for video it's a bit more tricky. I can shoot video with this, but there are major limitations with this camera when it comes to video. It's like clearly an afterthought. Like, they didn't really give you very many video features on this. So, you know, I can do autofocus with video on this camera because this is a native A mount lens, where I can't do autofocus with this guy. However, if I want to use autofocus, it has to be in program auto. I can't do shutter priority or aperture priority. So that kind of really limits things. The other sort of limitation is that this thing only goes up to 1080 at 60 frames a second, which is not great for birds, right? Because birds are pretty fast moving animals. So my preference would be to do at least 120p. And so, you know, that's what I have set up to do on this camera, 120p. But of course, there is absolutely no autofocus on this one. So anyway, that's it. I think I'm going to end it here. I'll see you in the next one.